My way downtown, walking fast, faces passing, I'm homebound. Hey, what the fuck are you doing in here? I told you to stay the fuck out. I'm getting ready for the podcast.
That was good.
You know, that's my private time.
I thought you were ready.
You know, I was singing "Making My Way Downtown." You know, that's my makeup song. It doesn't happen on its own. All right, you need to understand that I take preparation. I take. Welcome. Welcome back to. Welcome to episode 6 of the Otherworldly podcast, where we talk about spooky things, but also never ever talk about spooky things. We actually just talk about whatever's interesting us this week. This week we're going to go over a little adventure we had. Last week we went up to Squaw Valley and tried to capture an ant colony. Now that sounds really boring until you see the ant colony. They're very huge wood ants. Very interesting. Cisco, how did you feel about that?
I'm your host, Frank. You forgot to introduce us. What if people watch the channel and they don't know us yet by heart?
You should.
So I'm your host, Frank.
I'm your host, Dylan.
Dylan. Yes, they are fascinating, or Campanatus variety, depending on how you want to pronounce it.
This guy knows everything. Honestly, I was like, that whole day I was just having fun, just coming for the adventure. Completely lost. This guy was talking about, I gotta have baby powder, I need alcohol, I gotta do this, I gotta do that.
Rubbing alcohol.
I need to keep the queen separate from and Jameson. I need to keep the queen separate from the rest. I had no idea how interesting ants were and how much this guy knows. Just
although unfortunately
experience.
I don't know enough, because hopefully you can see it, but maybe you can see it on my hand at some point. Anyway, yeah.
Were these from the other day?
No, actually this wasn't. This was the day after. I went after a different colony closer to home, and that's what I got. Yeah, so what that is, and if you can't see it, I'll put a picture up. I'll take a closer picture.
That's hilarious. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so what that was I own a few colonies, multiple queens of the Tetramorium caspitum species, or the pavement ant. Wonderful species to keep. So I have a few colonies of those, but this one in particular has about 3 or 4 queens in it. 4 queens when it started. I don't know if all 4 queens are still alive, but at least 3 are alive. And what I was doing was, there was what I thought was a pavement ant colony near my house, but after I lifted up the rock I was brood boosting, so I was stealing wild ant colony eggs and larvae. They were not pavement ants, and I didn't want to crush them, so I had to hold the rock as I put spacers in there, so I don't just smash the colony. So the colony's fine. I do it a lot. And they got me good.
That's honestly kind of funny, because like everyone else in the world is like poisoning ants. They're trying to kill them, and then you're like the holy sacrifice, trying to keep all these ants alive while they bite you.
And by the way, this is days after healing, because remember, this was the day after we went on our adventure, and it's still like that. Yeah, it was worse.
So, the day after we did it, or the same day we did it?
No, the day. Oh, it could have been the same day. Because we got back pretty early.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I think it was the same day. So it's been.
He had to recoil from kind of like taking an L, because he didn't find the queen, so we had to put all the ants back.
Yeah,
so
safely place all the ants back.
He was kind of defeated on his way home. He was very upset, and I guess he needed to rebound, so he was looking for another colony.
Yeah, although that one I wasn't trying to take the queen on that one. I was actually just stealing eggs and larvae. for anybody who doesn't know, you can take eggs and larvae from the same colony, or even some other colonies, as long as they're close enough, same genus, and you can give them to your colony. It's called brood boosting. Works most of the time if you do it right. So,
give me an example of when it works badly.
The worst thing that'll happen is the ants. If you give them the eggs, they don't accept the eggs. They'll just eat the eggs. So it's never a minus.
They'll cannibalize it?
Well, yeah, because if it's from an enemy colony, or if it's from the wrong species and they know they can't raise it, they'll just kill them and feed the meat to their young.
Oh, okay.
So it's still used. The eggs are still beneficial to give to them, because if they don't brood boost with them, they'll still eat it and gain the nutritional value.
This sounds like a really awful question, but I'm gonna ask it anyways. Can you get two colonies to have like a little war with each other?
Oh, absolutely.
Really?
Yeah, especially if you have, here in California, specifically Northern California, pavement ants are everywhere. So if you did have an interest in pavement ants, they're extremely easy to keep, and they love to war. They love to wage wars. And
Honestly,
and here's the thing: is they don't have stingers. They're not poisonous in any, or venomous in any way. So their wars are the physical wars. Like, they will go and fight each other, and the wars can happen for days. Since there's no stingers, since they can't just sting each other to death, they have to physically rip each other apart.
So they're using their amazing 5 times their weight strength to just tear the heads off of other ants.
They try, yeah. They'll latch onto each other, and I've had, depending on if you heat the ant colony, it can of course make them grow faster. But I had one. I kept them cool because it was becoming winter when I caught them. It was late in the season, but once it got all warm, then I started heating them. So my colonies, most of them that I'm using have right now, they're almost 1 year old, but they already have each a good few hundred ants in the colonies, and they'll keep going fast. They'll grow. They grow quicker and quicker the bigger the colony is, because the bigger the colony is, more food, more space. She can lay eggs, multiple eggs a day, and have hundreds and hundreds of ants.
So where do you keep it? Because I imagine that's a lot of space that the ants need, right?
No, it's not. No, it's not a lot of space. Like, those hundreds of ants are in a container, like kind of like a big Tupperware container, like that, maybe like that. Oh, that's all it's in. I'll probably take some pictures of those, throw those up. So this colony of ants we were trying to catch. I know it's a Camponotus colony. I don't know what specific Camponotus it is. I'm currently looking for Camponotus imperis or imperis, depending on how you pronounce it. I don't have one of those colonies yet, but those are also known as false honeypot ants, which I really want, since we don't have like genuine honeypots here.
Our downstairs neighbors are loud as.
Hopefully you can't hear them too much. This is the official antisode.
It didn't work the first time. We had something of a rehearsal because we were 4 minutes into the episode earlier, but the format wasn't working and it deleted itself somewhat. And he made that joke the first time around and decided it'd be funny to do it again.
Because it was funny the first time. So I figured, you know what? If you have a golden goose that lays golden eggs, I don't know where I was going with that.
Keep it?
Yeah, you keep it.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it, I guess. Moving on, what else did we got today? What else do we have today?
Well, we do actually have a couple stories. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll talk about other things. Maybe. Or we may not come back at all. If you see credits after this, then we didn't come back. Or did we?
Welcome back from the break. And we're back. While we were on the break, we definitely did not look up something to talk about because we are out of content. As a matter of fact, we had already planned using this Reddit post from the paranormal subreddit. Alright.
Wait, before you start, this one really spoke to us because since we're, I wouldn't say professionals, but, paranormal experts. Yeah, paranormal experts. We decided to help this guy out. We're looking through the Reddit subreddit, and this guy needs advice. So we decided who's even qualified other than us to help him.
Username poltergeist stuff, all lowercase. Says, should I be concerned about scratches from negative entities? ? No, but you should be concerned about the schizophrenia. Was it bad delivery on that joke? Should I redo that one? No, but you should be concerned about your schizophrenia.
No, it was good. It's just I knew what you were gonna say,
so it up.
So I was like, we'll figure it out.
All right,
we'll keep both of them.
We'll with it in post. We'll duck with it. Get it? Because she's gonna edit it into a duck anyways.
We're not.
Oh,
we might.
All right, so I'll just go ahead and read the story. The summary is that he's basically being scratched. His son is scratched, and yada yada. I'll read it right now. Went through the poltergeist last year. Some of you might recall that long episode of insanity and the posts that came from it. House is quiet. I can still sense a very small amount of negativity residue, for lack of a better word. There's a better word.
What's the word?
During those particular hours when I'm working late/early. Yet during the time the paranormal activity was heightened, my son was scratched twice. One time was at the beginning when he was still sleeping in a heavily contaminated area. Ooh, heavily contaminated? Bro, keep your kid out of the contamination zone. Rule number 1, keep your children outside of the contaminated areas, alright?
Unless
parents can sleep in that room.
Unless your children are turtles and you named them after artists. And you also have a rat.
I do not get this reference at all.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Because they get contaminated, right. And that's how they become ninjas. Or at least anthropomorphic turtles.
Yeah, it's the rat that teaches them how to be ninjas.
Oh.
I don't know how the rat knows. Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, I do know how the rat knows.
How does the rat know?
Because the rat's owner was like the leader of a dojo. And the rat learned from him, but just by watching him. And then I think, if I'm not mistaken, who's the antagonist of that?
Shredder?
There you go. Shredder came and killed his master. That's why he's mad at Shredder.
Wait, so I need to... We're in the middle of something, but I need to sidetrack. How does the rat become anthropomorphic?
I don't know. I was assuming that he was oh, I have no idea. I guess he's in a sewer. He got toxicated first. Intoxicated.
Got drunk and
You can do a lot when you're intoxicated. In fact, the whole show of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles takes place in that drunken rat's mind.
Dude, that's just a rat. He's belligerent as right now in the bottom of a sewer, just tripping sack. All right, let's get back to the main topic. Paranormal activity, yada yada yada, contaminated area. This area lets out some activity if we remove the crystals that have blocked it in.
Wait, what?
Anyways, this is some white girl. You know what I mean? You need the purification crystals. If you're a Scorpio, the ghosts might want to attack you because it's a Capricorn.
It depends on the color of your aura. Everyone knows that.
Aura?
Yeah.
if we remove the crystals? I'm going to read it in this voice now because I've decided that this is a white woman.
Didn't it say it was a guy earlier?
I don't give a
Go ahead.
All right. By the way, it's this area lets us some activity. If we remove the crystals that have blocked it in, by the way, it is a white woman. It has it's too late.
By the way,
it says comma. By the way, end of sentence. What the you could have just not. You could have just not put in. Some people need to not type like they speak. This is one of those examples. Not sure what we do with this. Put the crystals back? I guess, if that's what you're saying.
If crystals are working, get more crystals.
Yeah. Think like a problem solver and not like a dude whose kid just got attacked by a ghost that you don't know how to confront. All right, so haven't wanted to deal with it.
So she needs to move into
move out.
No, Superman's doesn't he have like a crystal home? Doesn't he?
I like the North Pole, yeah.
Yeah.
He needs to, or she needs to room with Superman.
Yeah. Never mind. This is a rated. What is this show?
Family
rated?
Friendly.
PG-13?
I'd say PG with the edits, rated R without the edits. PG-13? Does that sound good?
Yeah.
We're PG-13?
We're PG-13.
Vote down below.
PG-18.
I'm so energetic today. You need to stop giving me energy drinks. This guy comes in every week for the podcast, has like a box of chips, a bag of like energy drinks. He's like snack Santa Claus. And of course I'm happy and I can't help myself. I don't have good what's it called when
self-control?
Self-control. I don't have any of that. So I'm just diving deep. I would show you guys, but it's too much hassle. There's just so many energy drinks and Pure Leaf teas right on the other side of that camera, like a 12-pack. I'm going to gain like 20 pounds. This has been the longest time of me trying to read one story. We're only 3 paragraphs in, by the way. And I've already said it's a white woman.
How many paragraphs is it?
It's like 10. So we need to speed up. We need to stop. All right, so stop sidetracking, I mean. I haven't wanted to deal with it. We're using it as storage. I'm not even going to... No, we're not. We're not going to go any deeper on this. Anyway, I moved my son's bed because he was scratched on the temple while sleeping with the top of his head off the side of his bed. That sounds more gruesome than it means to be. Like, I found my son, he was decapitated the other day. I placed his mattress on the bedroom floor. Oh my god. I'm going to tear up, dude. I placed his mattress on the bedroom floor in my and my husband's room. In my and my husband's room. I'm gonna screenshot that. I'm gonna text that photo to him so that when they're doing editing, they can put that screenshot.
Haven't you watched every time you read it, we do put in the story with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, we already do that. We'll highlight highlight it.
Oh, so you don't even need my picture?
You can still send it.
I placed his mattress on the bedroom floor in my husband's room. The goal was to reduce his and his sister's fear, but the second night my daughter, oh, okay, this is a hard read. But the second night my son, my daughter, and I were sitting atop that very mattress in the early evening with the overhead lights on while we were playing around. My son had been lying down on his side as he was growing tired, while my daughter and I giggled over pun jokes. sideways. His shirt was hiked up, exposing some skin. Suddenly, ow, Mom, it burns! And, hey, it is a mom! I was right!
Well, we'll have to wait in to see if she says her white mother or her Caucasian mother.
My husband. Remember that? And
what are you trying to say?
Oh, you think I'm being heteronormative? Well, it's 2018, so I really shouldn't be. Me. I'll get over it. Alright, so let me go back to... Ow, Mom, it burns! And he pointed to his back on the side where I found a gouge in his skin, about 1/16 inch deep, followed by a streak. It looked as if something had stabbed him with a semi-sharp object and dragged the object about 2 inches across his skin. There was a gouge that had drawn blood and a scratch that led from the wound. It burns, he said, which is indicative of negative energy burns. Cisco, where do you find these? Whitemoms.com? That whole set.
Why? It's.
Just go read this.
It's CaucasianMothers.org.
At CaucasiansMothersOnly.com. White men just don't get it. Oh, negative energy burns is a whole noun.
Oh, I see. Yeah,
it's indicative of negative energy burns.
But I see where because I almost read it the same
as
way you
indicative of negative energy. Which burns, which to me would have...
Right, yeah, I thought, yeah, because it would have been she was using burns like twice.
Dude, I went from like, we're gonna give advice to this lady about paranormal activity to I'm just gonna scrutinize her grammar until she gets it, until she stops writing on Reddit from all the hate mail. We were all sitting right there with him. We looked everywhere for bugs. And what I find funny too is about her saying it burns. Anything that stabs you burns. She could have just caught his, his back on anything and cut himself and it would burn.
Yeah, because it's like, even if it was like a clean object, like as soon as his t-shirt like touched it, I can definitely see it burning.
Yeah.
Just because it's like...
like, watch, this kid's gonna get like a hand chopped off one day and he'll be like, ah, it burns! And she'll go, that's indicative of negative energy! Where we finish scrutinizing this white suburban mom's grammar. We were all sitting right there with him. We looked everywhere for bugs, especially brown recluse, but the mark was too big for a brown recluse, and believe me, if that huge gouge was from a brown recluse, I was going to get the blowtorch, even though we're not allergic to them. No spiders, no bugs, no mice. Small room. So many unnecessary periods. Really obvious. I like how she says that. Really obvious. Like, you'd be a idiot to not believe it was a ghost that scratched my son.
You know what's funny is she even mentioned, I was going to bring it up whenever she said she was looking for a bug. Or, yeah, she was looking around for bugs. Because I was thinking, does that mean the cut's not very big? Because
she said it was a 16th inch little
gouge.
16
inch?
1/16 of an inch.
Oh, wait, 1/16?
1/16 of an inch.
Oh, that's...
deep.
Then how come...
And it's mildly bleeding and it was dragged across like that far. He could have popped like a pimple and it would have... No, this lady has irrefutable proof. Ghosts are real. Here's where it gets good. I almost tortured my daughter into fessing up that she accidentally scratched him with her fingernails. But she did not. And I know it wasn't possible from our activity and seating positions. Oh, wow. She's an expert on seating positions now. After all, I was sitting right there with both of them in full view. We stripped the bed carefully, one item at a time, looking for any sharp objects or anything that could have scratched him. But the truth is, he had been still and lying on his side, and the scratch was... I like this. And the scratched was facing upward toward the ceiling, not down on the bed or beneath his own weight. You have a past tense verb instead of a noun. So, I'm concluding the scratch was from a negative entity like the first one. Dude, she's so in her own head about it that she needed to prove to us Like, what happened? She's like, he was scratched with negative energy, and if you don't think otherwise, I'm gonna hurt you and unfollow you on Reddit. All right. So I'm
I'm
concluding.
just imagining this really nice lady who's like,
like concerned for her kids, and I'm just like, you stupid. Oh my god. We're gonna have her as a guest on this podcast someday, imagine.
Please, if this is your story and this is you, we would love to have you on the podcast. Even if it's just a call.
This is probably when no one wants to send any submissions. Like, anytime we read stories, we're... I mean, we get tons of submissions every week.
Yeah,
at otherworldlypod.com. But
even they say gmail.com. They send us it and they say, please don't review this with a negative tone, and so we just can't play them. No. So if there's a story you want scrutinized, if you're don't even do autocorrect, just send us what you got.
So I'm concluding the scratch was from a negative entity like the first one. Maybe it was pissed because he moved away. We went to great pains to debunk the first scratch that happened to him. Every scratch has been scratched. This whole blog post. To debunk the first scratch that happened to him. I'm not going into detail because those were freaky times and I'd rather forget. It was really scary because the entity was at its most powerful and the newness of it created strong emotions from an uneducated, vulnerable state. So people that don't agree with you are uneducated now? Can't wait to have you on this podcast and just drill you.
Hey, this is PG-13. We can't do that kind of stuff. Oh.
He's silly.
Right.
I'm concerned about those scratches, and I hope there is not any negative symbolism, attachments for my son, and if there are, do I need anything extra beyond what I've already done to get rid of this piece of in our house? Success. I guess I need to deal with that room still. I like this. I like the very top comment is, so just because it wasn't mentioned, did he possibly scratch himself? No,
I think she covered her bases pretty good.
Yeah. Just I mean, there was knife that I had lying on the bed, but it couldn't have been that because it
didn't have blood on it.
My son doesn't touch knives.
He's knife intolerant. He gets bad gas. He touches a knife.
Oh my god. We're just getting so deep into this woman's psyche. All right. I know I've twice scratched myself. Oh wait, I'm reading this in the wrong voice. This is the reasonable character at the bottom, so I need to give him a more reasonable voice. I know I have once or twice scratched myself pretty bad on accident, and kids are known for doing stupid things for attention. If, however, it is a negative entity, you have not done enough. If it is capable of gathering enough energy to leave marks, then who knows what else it might do. Seek professional help. This isn't a DIY situation when your kids are in danger.
But the crystals.
Wait. The same lady, she just commented. My family and I just defeated a poltergeist. Poltergeists are very rare. Keep this in mind. Edit. Being kind. We might just end it there.
We're not going to read the rest of it.
We're not going to delve deep into it.
Go ahead and play the hummingbirds. Wait, did you get hummingbird video?
Yeah, we got
hummingbird video. Hey, by the way, did we get any submissions?
No, it's honestly pretty embarrassing. We're very unpopular. Wait, is the audio still on?
Hummingbirds.
Thank you again for sticking with us and checking out our content week to week. This is episode 6, something of a milestone. We appreciate you. Anything else you want to add?
Thank you again for that. We're looking forward to our I think the next button we get is after 25. So if you're watching this and not subscribed and want to see us get another button,
hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. I mean, like doesn't do anything, but it fulfills me and gives me self-esteem, so I can wake up in the morning.
And share it so we can get more people, so we can get more buttons.
I need validation.